What training or education did you receive to do this job?
The training that I received my police training at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in Plainfield. Trained for 12 weeks down there, which is 3 months of being away from family. We learned a lot of different things down there. I had a week prior to that called pre-basic, and those gave me my arrest powers. Every year, law enforcement has to have continuing education in order to keep those arrest powers.
What advice do you have for a student who wants to do your job?
My advice for students, and we welcome everybody because we want good officers, is usually three things. And that's get good grades, listen to your teachers, and listen to your parents. And if you do those three things, you'll succeed.
What advice do you have for a student who wants to go down your career path like me?
Well, the first thing, like at your age, is start getting some hands-on. Even if it's just, following a parent or a grandparent or a friend around if they're changing a light switch, just learn how the basic stuff works.
What advice do you have for a student who wants to do your job?
Study up on math. You may not think math's important, but for breaking recipes down or expanding them, you need to be able to look at a recipe and say, okay, it's for 20, I need it for 100 or 500, or I need it for 3. So you've got to be able to adjust your recipes accordingly. And then, management classes. That's the hardest part, really. I mean, the easiest part of being a chef is cooking. The hardest part is managing and, doing all the paperwork that comes along with it.
What training or education did you receive to do this job?
I went to school to be an environmental scientist. So my degree is from Manchester University in environmental studies with a minor in biology. And then training-wise, I've had training in different forestry things, different fishery things. I've gone to dam safety training since we manage a dam. I've been to a few trainings that have to do with Homeland Security because we're a secure location.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's fun, your job?
Oh, I love it. I love it. There's parts of it I don't like. Developing a budget isn't fun, but getting out on a boat is a ton of fun. And I'm outside every day. I see eagles every day. I see deer every day. I see turkey every day. Yesterday, actually, we walked 3 miles of boundary yesterday, and I bet I saw 75 turkeys. I saw a bunch of deer. I found a really big antler that a deer had left. It's a lot of fun.
My fourth question is, how did you pay for your training?
While I was working at Chrysler, part of that was a work-based program where they reimbursed me for tuition. I had to pay for the books. They reimbursed for the tuition as long as I took classes that applied to my job at Chrysler. Before Chrysler and then after Chrysler, the classes that I took in HVAC and electrical and so forth, and I had to borrow some money and pay back those loans in order to try to improve myself to have a better position in the workforce.
What advice do you have for a student who wants to do your job?
Well, if you're looking into education, you need to make sure that you like students and that you like being around kids and helping people. And then, of course, you need to be willing to work hard. It takes a lot of education to feel like you're capable of teaching some of the higher level classes, the chemistry and the physics, and some of those you really have to know your math and your background. So I guess the only other thing I would want to say is you guys have a chance to earn a scholarship and to put money back for education with the Community Foundation. And I really hope that students are taking advantage of that. Education is the one thing that they can never take from you, and it will always benefit you.
Throughout your Army career, you go to schools several times. Every time that you get promoted or you're close to getting promoted, you're probably going to go to a school that's going to be anywhere from 4 to 10 months long. The saying that you're only as strong as your weakest link is as true as anything I know.
How did you pay for your training?
That's a really good
question. So a lot of people go to school and they have to get loans and they have to pay those back later. But I actually got the Eli Lilly scholarship in high school, and so I had a full ride to school, so I didn't pay for anything. And so if you want to be a teacher, Miss Mia, then you have to work really hard at being kind to others and understanding that everybody is different.
How did you pay for your training?
I was fortunate to be able to work as a union laborer, so I worked on large construction projects when I was, after I graduated from high school. I did that in the summers, and I made a good enough wage at that time to be able to pay for my college with what I made in the summer. I just worked during the summer, and I made enough money then that I could pay for school, and I didn't have to work during school.
How did you pay for your training?
Well, the first degree, I had to work to pay for it, so I painted and hung wallpaper and that kind of thing to pay for my college. I know that Promise scholarships are available now, and so I definitely recommend everyone doing that, because you would have to paint a lot less if you had some scholarship money to work with. I also received student loans for my second and third degree, and the hospital has helped reimburse and pay those back.